Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Had to do a little maintenance and some few small repairs on the 2500 HD. Battery was a little weak, so I put a new one in, as you can see here. Then also I'm going to do a time lapse here of doing a new water pump, pulleys, radiator hoses, and a new radiator, as I had a weepy radiator and found out that I also had a leaking water pump. Hope you enjoy. So I'd originally updated this video to YouTube with some background music playing, but come to find out it is not royalty-free music built into the iMovie app. So I took the video down and I'm going to go through here and voice over all of this. Taking this apart is pretty simple. Take your intake loose, upper part of the air box. The radiator shroud is two-piece, so take the fasteners apart, pull the top and the bottom out. Have an old no-name wrench that I've ground out to fit these clutch fans. Take that loose, and then drain the system, which I'll tell you about here in just a sec. So because I was going to replace the hoses anyway, I just went ahead and punched a hole in a lower radiator hose at an angle so that it would drip down over the frame and down into this big tote with fall sides so it wouldn't splatter everywhere. Since the GM radiator from the factory doesn't have a drain plug, you either have to just pull that hose off and make a mess, or, like I said, since I'm replacing the hoses, I just cut a hole in them. Once I got the coolant drained, I had to get the power steering and transmission cooler lines removed. Standard GM push lock style connectors, or whatever they call them, has a little E-clip in there you can pop out with a right angle pick, and then the line just pulls out with a little bit of force. You will drip a little bit of transmission and power steering fluid, but not enough that it really matters. You can top it all off when you're done, and then pull the radiator out. Unhook all the hoses from the water pump, and then it's a matter of start pulling the front end of the engine apart. So at this point, I'm to the part of taking air out the front of the engine. The little impact does a great job of pulling the bolts out of the water pump. I use just a regular flat razor blade scraper to clean those gasket surfaces. This iron block engine is not real bad to mess with. I did put a new tensioner and idler pulley on. Again, very straightforward, just taking the old parts off, knock the pulley off of there, put the new pulley on, tighten the bolt down, little blue thread locker, make sure everything stays together. And then I realized I had picked up the wrong thermostat for the truck, so I went back to the parts store, got the right one. Then took the water pump out, making sure I had all the bolts good and clean, threads were cleared out, they were in good shape. And you'll notice that I put the bolts through the front end of the water pump so that it'll hold the gaskets in place as I placed it on the front of the engine, and then just go through and crisscross tighten them down. Yeah, I know most people are going to say, oh, you should have torqued that down, but I've done it this way multiple times and I've never had an issue. Don't go crazy with the little impact or your ratchet or whatever, and you should be fine. Put the other pulley back on, again with some more blue thread locker, keep it from vibrating apart, hooking up the heater hoses and so on. Then it was on to putting the radiator in. Got it in, bolted down, and realized I did not put the bushings in the bottom of it, so the radiator was going to flop around and break. Pull it back out, install the bushings, put it back in. And now we're starting to get into the home stretch of the reassembly, basically putting everything back together, getting the fan shroud put back in, radiator hoses connected, all the clamps put on, make sure everything is in the right orientation so they don't rub or get entangled with each other. Putting the serpentine belt on, I did go with the Gates greenback on it. I just like the idea of it having a higher temperature rating and being the HD version, since it is an HD truck. Probably not a big deal in my particular usage, but I like it and wasn't that many more dollars. So I got the lower radiator shroud put in here. You can see I put a little dab of blue thread locker on the clutch fan threads, and I started putting coolant in through the upper radiator hose inlet on the water pump. I like to do that as much as I can, get the block as full as I can, let the air vent out as it just settles in naturally. Get the upper radiator shroud put in, all the fasteners there, upper radiator hose, And then we'll go through with the intake and everything, and then it's just a matter of running the vehicle up, get it up to operating temperature, getting the air pockets out, and making sure we top off the coolant to the proper level. And in the middle of all this, I ran across a really good deal on a steering wheel that was in a whole lot better shape than one I had. This one was wrapped in red, white, and blue paracord that generally was just dingy and gross looking. So pulled the airbag out, took the center nut off the steering wheel, give it a couple wraps on the side, it'll shake loose, pull it out, swap the new wheel back on, and then put the airbag on. Of course, doing this all with the battery disconnected so I don't accidentally set off an airbag. It helps if you actually put the correct airbag on so that it matches the plugs on the truck. So hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day.